All right, I am currently in the process of taking the heater case out of this vehicle. This is kind of piggybacking off my other video I made where I replaced the intake valves, so go check that out if you haven't already. But I figured since I had the coolant drain and the hood off and everything, I would go ahead and replace the leaking heater core. It wasn't leaking real bad, but it was in the winter. You could definitely smell it, and it would kind of fog the window up a little bit. So you don't have to take the hood off for this, but it makes it a little easier. You do have to pull the cowl off, which is actually kind of a pain in the neck, but it's doable. It's just fragile, and where it fits up here fits really tight. The hood's off, of course. Like I said, you have to take the wiper transmission out, which just this little thing here. There's three 13 millimeters, 1, 2, 3. You got to pull this little cover off, and then just the connector slides out. And then there is a strap that goes across this and just holds it down on the cowl. Got to disconnect these vacuum lines, which came off pretty hard, and then this boot on the blower motor. You see this goes back and forth. You just slide this over so it'll clear. And then I'm going to undo these coolant lines. And then the inside of the vehicle, I have the seat out just because I was reupholstering the seat and had to sew the leather back together. And then you just have to pull these 90-degree ducts off that are just sit there. So you pull that off. We'll go around to the other side here. Same deal over here. This one I couldn't get all the way off, but you just pull the duct back. It's up there, and then undo this connector here. And then that should be it. The connector should come up and out of there. Or wait, here's the duct right here. So you just pull that back. And then show you on this side. So this is this duct. You pull back and it will allow the blower to slide up and out of there. And these should all stay with the case. And then the case is got like butyl rubber around there, so I've heard that's kind of a pain. I'm going to try to pop it up and out and not break anything. All right, so I'm undoing the lines here. I'm thinking somebody may have had this out at some point because these are 1/4 inch, and everything else I've been finding on here has been like 6 and 7 millimeter. And like I mentioned, I do have the coolant drain, so there shouldn't be a whole lot in here. And this is just a 90-degree hose pick tool. Helps get those off. And okay, that. And there. And then, I don't know if I can pull those. Looks like those aren't going to go out of the way. Oh, and then there's this blower connector here you want to pull off. And then just this surround here. I'm gonna try to pop that off with a upholstery tool or something. All right, I think I got the case free. There's another connector here that I didn't know was there, and then these coolant lines, if you can figure out how to pull them through here. I couldn't get them in, but they were kind of in the way here. And then so yeah, I just stuck my pry bar on either side and popped it up, and I think now it's hanging up on this heater line there. I'll put that hose clamp off. And then you just kind of fish these through the bottom. And that one is loose. Makes me nervous. All this stuff is so brittle. Right now it's hanging up on this AC line. That didn't sound good. And it's nice they made this removable so you don't have to pull the dash out, but it is not an easy fit. So there you go, something broken just fell off there. So I'll show the disassembly, and yeah, there's a huge gaping hole in the cowl here. All right, so here's the case. So kind of a neat deal, actually. It's all just one big unit. And this is the piece that fits in the, see the hole here. So there's a thing that let's distribute the air up to the top there. Got to be careful to put that back in. That must go to the rear seat. And then here's those 90-degree elbows I was talking about. And that other connector goes in down on the side of this duct, that thing. And that's where this plugged in. So yeah, this doesn't look like it's going to be too much fun to pull apart, but I'll show you the steps I did to get it out. All right, so I think I got the case to where it's going to come apart. Just kind of shake it out of there like that. There's the heater core. Looks like it was leaking on the bottom there. So this was pretty straightforward. There's some hidden screws like here and there and back on the other side of this, and I still could not get this off, and it has all these clips holding the case halves together. And I finally figured out under this white cover, you got to pull this off. Then there's this actuator. You have to pull this out of the way, and then what it's actually holding on is this thing here must clip onto right there, and that's what was actually holding the halves of this together. And I could not figure it out, and I was afraid I was going to break it. But anyway, the heater core should pop through here. There's a bunch of foam rubber, it looks like, holding on. Let's see if we can't pry that out of here. So it's just got this rubber on there, and I think all you do is just gotta kind of pull it out like that. And yeah, this thing definitely looks like it was leaking. And yeah, I'm gonna peel all the rubber out of here and put the new one in. All right, this is the new heater core I got from Rock Auto. It looks like it's gonna be the right thing here. Maybe a little thicker. No, it's about the same. So this one's an aluminum one with plastic tanks and plastic fittings. And the one I went with is a solid, looks like brass, and part of the tanks must be copper. TSM 0399910 is the part number. And I've had good luck with these copper ones. They transfer heat a lot better. And yeah, hopefully we'll get some good heat out of this one. All right, I got the foam, which for some reason they didn't include in the kit. I had to go buy some, but I got it all put on, and now I'm just gonna go back together with everything. All right, we're slowly getting the case back together here. There's, I'll show you these screws that, so there's one that comes through the back side of this. I pulled this off. There's another one in there. Another one in there. And the hardest part about this job so far has been getting all these doors through there. So there's one there. This one popped out. That's, you gotta make sure that gets fished through. And then I'll flip this over here. The hardest one was this. There, you kind of have to, if you stick your hand through here, you can open this door open. And then you got to make sure that one and then the other side of that's through. And once that's through, you can kind of just tap it in and it will seat down in there. And then you just put the screws like I have in there and then these C-clips back on. All right, I got the coolant topped up, got the cowl all back together, and I realized I had a coolant leak in the morning. It was leaking all under the car there. Traced it out, it was coming underneath the cowl drain there, and those two clamps that I mentioned earlier that were like the 1/4-inch American clamps, they were leaking coolant, so I had to pull everything back out and tighten those. But we have no leaks now, and I'll show you the rest of this repair here. All right, I pulled the passenger seat out. I've got the driver's seat back in. Again, you do not have to do this for this repair, but did a really good job cleaning the carpets. There was lots of gunk under there. But I just wanted to show you this piece. I mentioned it earlier with the, see if we can't see it here. So there you go. I've got it zoomed in. That's that rubber boot that goes back to the rear. I believe it goes to the rear floor for the passengers under the seat. Just make sure that those tabs, I came back and double checked, and it was definitely folded over and was not hooked up. You can still do it once everything's in there. It's kind of a bear, but both sides I had to go in and check and make sure that they were good, and they were not. So we're good to go, and check the heater operation. So blower's coming back on. I'm gonna go drive it and get it warm and check everything, but I think we're good to go. Hope this helps somebody figure out how to do the heater core on these Typ 44 C3 large chassis Audi cars.